Hello, my name is Noah. I work at the Plaza at Kaneohe, and today we're doing a tutorial video on how to play the game Sudoku. So as you notice, this is the Sudoku grid. Each square is called a block. Within each block are 9 cells. And then you'll see these are rows that go horizontal, and these are columns that go vertical. The object of the game is to get the numbers 1 through 9 into every cell per row and per column. Also per block. So that each number can only be in the row, column, or block one time. So for instance, this middle block has a 1, 2, 5, 9, and 6. So all that can be possibly go back into this is the numbers that aren't there, which are 3, 4, 7, and 8. And I'm going to teach you how to the most basic understanding of how to play the game Sudoku and solving what number goes in which cell. Okay, so what best way to do that is I'm just going to walk through doing this puzzle as I normally would. So what I typically do is I write the numbers out at the bottom, and I always start with the number 1. So using logic, we know there's a 1 in this block. All right, and so I'm trying to solve where are the rest of the 1s at. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4 1s. That means there's 5 1s that aren't in the cells yet that we got to try to figure out. So the first thing that I would do for this one is that you see this one in this row, that could be the only 1 in that row. So that means for this first block, 1 cannot be on any of these because there's already a 1 right there. So these 3 squares or these 3 cells won't be 1. And then moving on to the next row, there's already a 1 in that, so that can't be a 1. So I looked at all the horizontal, so the 1 has to go in one of these 2 cells. But you also have vertical, not just horizontal, not just rows, you have columns. And so looking down this column, you see there's already a 1 in this column. So that means it can't be this one either. So by using deduction, we've logically figured out that this number will be 1. And it's essentially what we're going to do for the entire puzzle. Okay, so let's keep going with the 1s and see what we get. So this can't be 1. Because of that 1, this can't be 1. And because of the horizontal 1, this can't be 1. So these 2 spots are the only thing that can be 1. But we can't guess, and we can't logically figure out that there's only 1 square because there's 2 squares it could possibly be. So we have to move on. We have to wait until further on in the puzzle until we can determine if that's a 1 or not. So let's keep jumping around to see where else needs a 1. This side needs a 1 as well. So going vertical, the 1 eliminates all these squares. These are already filled, so the 1 can't be in that square, those cells. So the 1's going to have to be in those 3 cells. And this horizontal 1 knocks out that cell. So once again, we have 2 cells in a block. That could be the 1. So right now, we can't do any more 1s. We can't figure out any more 1s. So then, we go on to the next one, the 2. So the 2, let's see what we got. We have 1, 2, 2 2s, 3 2s. Let's see if we can deduce anything. Looking at this square, this 2 already takes out those cells. This 2 will take out this cell. That means 1, 2, 3 cells. Too many. We don't know if which one is a 2. Can't do that. Let's go to the top one. 2 takes out these 2 cells from this one. Unfortunately, this one takes out this one, and we're still left with 2 2s. Still don't know where and which one is going to be. Okay. So now what we're going to have to do is, let's go on to any other 2s, any other cells. There's no 2 in this cell. These can't be 2s because of that vertical. These all could be 2s. So since there's only 3 2s, like I mentioned in the beginning, that means that it's going to be really hard to deduce which square or which cell has a 2 because there's only 3 of them. It's like we had 5 1s to begin with, and that's how we were able to get another 1 because we had a lot. So you want to look for the numbers as you go through the list using the numbers that you have a lot of. So let's look at the 3s next. We have 1 3, 2 3, 3 3, 4 3. 4 3 is something we could do with. So let's start. We'll start in this row, yeah? So we know there can't be a 3 in this block because there's already a 3. So these 2 cells are eliminated. There can't be a 3 in any of those cells because they're already filled up. So we know that there has to be a 3 in one of these cells. But there's no 3s horizontally, so we don't know. Okay, let's go on to the next row. Once again, this cannot be a 3 because this already has a 3 in its block. Okay, moving down, this could be a 3. We don't know. There's no horizontal. Or these 2 could be 3s. But we know that this can't be a 3 because of this horizontal 3 right there, yeah? Okay, so it can only be this 3 or this 3. So, moving on, we'll go, oh, wait a minute. So you see that for this block, the 3 can't go right here, and for this, it can't go right there. So it must be right here. Must be a 3. Why? Again, because vertically that 3, that cell can't be a 3 because that column already has a 3. And then horizontally, this can't be a 3 because this row already has a 3. Okay, you beginning to understand? Okay, so now we have the bottom blocks all have a 3, which is great. And then the top blocks still need a 3 either right here, needs a 3 on the top row because the next 2 rows already have 3s. So looking at that, it's either going to be these 2 cells. You see the 3 in that vertical row, that can't be a 3. So deducting that logically, this would be a 3. Okay, so now the only 3s we have left to get are in the middle blocks. Yeah, but unfortunately, it doesn't look like we have enough information to deduce which 3, so we'll move on to number 4. Okay, so number 4, moving along, we got, starting from the top, we don't have any 4s in the top block, 1 floor in the middle blocks, and then another. So it's only 2 4s. Probably won't be able to find out any answers. We only have 2 4s. So we gotta wait till some more of the cells get filled up with other numbers, okay? So let's move on to the 5. We have 1 5 2 5, 3 5, 4 5, 5 5, 6 5. A lot of 5s. That means we should be able to get all the 5s out. There's 9 5s total, and then get them off the board, okay? So, starting up here, we see that 2 5s, so that eliminates the bottom, the second and third row. So the 5 has to be in the top row in this block. It can't be in the far left because this 5 vertically does not allow that. It could be in this one or this one. We don't know. We don't know. We gotta move on. So we move on. Okay, moving on to the middle blocks. There's 2 more 5s. That cancels these 2 rows. Only these 2 spots could be a 5. This 5 vertically cancels out that this can't be a 5. Therefore, logically, this is a 5. it's a really bad 5. Very intense. All right, so then moving on, you have a 5 right here. On the bottom blocks, you have a 5 on the top row and a 5 on the bottom row. So this middle one has to have a 5 in the middle row. And see, using this 5, that cancels that cell. It must be this cell. Okay. So now we have 5s on the bottom row, 5s everywhere except for these 2 spots. But hold on a minute, you see this 5 that we were able to find? This 5 cancels out this square. This 5 cancels out that square. That means the only square left is the middle square. Beautiful. Now you notice we have a 5 in every column. Which means we're done with the 5s. All right, great job. Let's move on to the 6s. We already have 3 6s in the top 3 blocks. Only 1 6 in the middle blocks and 2 6s in the bottom blocks. So let's start from the bottom since there's 2. That means it's more likely, to get the 3rd. Okay, so this 6 will take out these bottom cells. This 6 will take out the next row of cells, leaving only 1 cell left. That is a 6. So that means the bottom blocks all have 6s, the top blocks all have 6s. What's next? The middle blocks. So right now, all that we have is looking at this block. The 6 takes away all those cells vertically. Horizontally, the bottom, that's out. These 2 cells are the only 2 cells that a 6 could go. Okay, but we don't know which one, so we got to keep going. Maybe we'll try out this block. Once again, this left block, the 6 horizontally crosses those cells. Can't put a 6 there. 6 could be in the middle cells, and also, but seeing this 6 means that it can't be in any of these verticals. So it's going to have to be either this cell or this cell, but that 6 cancels, so that means it has to be this 6, this cell. Which now we can deduce this one, because these 2 are the only ones. This horizontally crosses out that cell, so by deduction, we can logically conclude that's the 6. And that's all 9 6s. Nice job, done with the 6s. Moving on to the 7s, all right? You notice there's 1, 2, 3 7s. Now, you might think, okay, maybe I should just skip these, but there is something, kind of a different technique that I'll use that you can see that. So, looking at the top, we don't know so we know this top left block. Let's take it for example. We know these 2 top cells can't be 7 because of that 7, okay? But that leaves these 2 cells left. But what we can deduce is this middle row isn't 7. So that means the 7 in this block is going to be on the bottom because there's nowhere else for it to go. Because this 7 cancels that cell, that means the 7 is going to be on the bottom. Okay, and you see this vertically cancels that cell, you know the 7's right there. So now with that 7 horizontally, we can't use that cell. That 7 cancels out these 2 cells, and you'll see now this must be a 7. Yeah? Okay, so then moving on, we'll look down at the next ones. We see, so I like to jump around, you can kind of tell. But if you look at this block, the numbers 1 through 9, it's only missing 2 numbers. 1 is a 7 and 1 is an 8. And so by deducing this 7, that can't be a 7. because of that 7 horizontally. This must be 7. And then, consequentially, so that makes a 7 in that row. Okay? So then moving on, we'll see if we can get any more 7s. We know this 7 takes out these cells, this 7 takes out the top, and this 7 vertically will take out that cell, leaving one cell left where we get 7. Yeah? And so the only other places that we have left for the 7 to go is in the middle blocks. There's going to be one in the middle, and then there's going to be one up top, maybe. So we don't know yet. It could be anywhere. So moving on to the 8s, you'll see that, let's start with the top 3 blocks. Going horizontal, can't be that one. It can't be any of those. Has to be this one. Top 3 blocks are done. Going on to the middle 3 blocks, we see that 8 takes out that. That's all these other cells could be 8. 8 horizontally takes out that. So we still have 3 cells. It could be 8. We don't know. Let's keep moving. Okay. So going on to the next one. 8's already in the middle block, so that's okay. That's done. The third block in the middle. 8 vertically cancels those 2 cells. 8 horizontally cancels that cell. We know it's going to be in one of those 2 cells. Which one, we don't know yet. We got to wait till we get more numbers. All right. So then moving on to the bottom blocks. Okay, you see we got an 8 in the bottom right. And we don't know where this 8's going to be. Well, but vertically we know it's going to be in one of these 2 cells, because horizontally the 8 cancels those and vertically cancels those. So just these 2, the only options. But we know from this bottom block, there's only one number left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, missing an 8, and then 9. And so you see each block has a number 1 through 9. So because of that, 8 will cancel horizontally this cell, which means it could only possibly be in that cell. So now what that's going to do is maybe we can revisit the other cells to see if there's any other possible 8s. So we know 8's canceled that, 8 cancels this cell. So we have this cell being canceled, still just 2 cells. Unfortunately, I guess not, we don't know. Same thing over here, the middle right block. 8 cancels this one, 8 cancels that. We still have these 2 cells, we don't know. Okay, so we're gonna have to move on to the 9s. So moving on to the 9s, we have 1 9 right here. Let's start for the far left 3 blocks, yeah? 9s, all these cells cancel, all these cells cancel. It's gotta be one of these 2, yeah? We don't know which one, but we do know if a 9 can't be in this block on the bottom. And so that means the 9's going to be, when you cancel these 2, the 9's going to be right here. Which means that this bottom one will be a 9, because that will cancel horizontally. Cancels, you only have 1 spot left. Yeah? So then moving on to the middle 3 blocks, we have this 9 canceling these 2, this 9 canceling those 2, leaves us with 1 square left. Must be a 9. Okay, moving on, we got a 9, 9. Let's try if we find that 9. It can't be any of these or any of those. It must be that one right there. That's beautiful. We're chugging along, chugging along. And going to the bottom 3 rows, there's a 9 right there, a 9 right there. That cancels, that cancels. You have this 9, which cancels, so these are the only 2 spots, but this 9 cancels that. This gives you your last 9. So now you have 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9 9s. All done with the 9s. So after you go through them all, what I do is I go back to the 1. What I couldn't have figured out earlier, now more cells are filled, which means the options are less, which means I have a greater chance of deducing logically what number goes in that cell. Okay, so let's go back to the ones. We have a 1 in this row column, a 1 in this column. We just need one more 1. This will cancel these. This will cancel that. Has to be a 1. Before, we didn't have that 5 or 6, so we thought that, and this one canceled that, so we knew it was in one of those, but we didn't know which one. But once we put that 6 in, we were able to figure out that, hey, that 1 was right there. You know what I mean? So now we know the 1's there. So that means each vertical column has a 1 for those blocks. Let's move over to the next row, okay? Know that it's got to be a 1 somewhere over here. And we see that this one cancels these two. So the 1 must go right here. Now we need, so 1, 1, 1. All those vertical rows are taken. Now looking for the last one, this one. This vertical cancels those. Can't be a 1 there. And this one will cancel that one, as well as this one being in the block. So this must be another 1, which gives us our last one, which will be in the last vertical column. That will cancel that. Must be the only place. All the 1s are gone. See, very easy. Right, move back next to the 2s. Okay, let's start for this block. We see it's got 7 numbers. There's 2 missing. One of them is a 2. And because of this 2 on the bottom block, it eliminates that as an option. Only gives us that 1 left. Let's go ahead and finish this block. 1, 2, 3. Looks like we're missing a 4. It's going to be a 4. And once again, the reason that is because each block will have the number 1 through 9 only once. And so if you have 8 numbers, you know by deducing logically, that's what we're doing here, that must be a 4, because it's the only number left from the number chain 1 through 9. Okay, so that block is done. And look at the next block. It's got 8 numbers as well. So we also can do 1, 2, 3. Also missing a 4. Okay, and does that check out for the row? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The row checks out as well, you see? So the row only has 1 through 9. The block has 1 through 9. And then lastly, we have this section. And looking at that, we can't tell. And I'll have to apologize, I jumped to the 4s just because I wanted to finish that block off. So let's go back to the 2s. I get lost sometimes too. Okay, so going down to this middle block, this 2 eliminates those. This must be a 2. There's already 2 in that column. Moving on to the next row, there's only 2 spots left in that column, That 2 eliminates that. It must be right there. So next column, there's no 2. This must be the 2 because I'm sorry, I made a mistake. This is a great way to see. So if I put the 2 there, this is why you don't guess. But that means that this block would need to have a 2 on the top because there's already a 2 in the middle row. So the 2 actually is going to go up here. And so then you have this 2, and then this means that this would be the last 2 for the bottom blocks. And you'll notice it is jumping around a lot, but that's fine. Let your mind play. Have a good time. It's a puzzle. We're having fun here. Yeah? So the 2 vertically cancels that way, cancels this way. There's got to be a 2 in the middle. It's going to be this one because this 2 cancels. Now we can deduce that last block, but we're not going to because I'm going to stick with the 2s. The 2s are all done. Moving on to the 3s, okay? So now what we know is there's a 3 that cancels those, 3 cancels those. Still could be a 3 in any 3 of those. We don't know. We can't figure it out. But what we do know, we'll jump over here. We see a 3 cancels these cells, which means this could only be a 3. So that does help us out, because now that 3 will eliminate that square, right? And then going on to the middle block, this 3 eliminates those 2 cells, which means this could only be a 3. And now that 3 eliminates these 2 cells. This is the last 3. And you see all the 3's cease to be. That's my Dr. Seuss, yeah? Alright, moving on to the 4's. Alright. We see the first block's got a 4. Goes out, goes out. There's only one more spot, and it needs a 4. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's missing a 4. Let's put it there, shall we? Now moving on to the middle blocks. This block already has a 4. This one still needs 1, and this 4 eliminates the top. So this must be a 4, and that will eliminate this cell, which means this one must be a 4. Okay, and then moving on to the bottom 3, we know we can deduce that this is a 4 because that's the number it's missing. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 must be a 4. And then because of that, you also can see that this must be a 4. You'll notice the game starts picking up much more as you have less and less squares, and that's when it kind of gets fun. Well, it's always fun. Come on. Alright, so now all we have left is a 7 and 8. So when you bring the 7 over, you see that there can only be 2 options. It's canceled. Must be the 7. And so that eliminates that, this eliminates that. There's only one spot, and that row doesn't have 7, so must be a 7, and that will eliminate the 7's. All you got left is the 8, and there's only 2 empty squares. Just to double check, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9. Missing the 8, perfect. And then going over to the last square, the last cell, we see the block 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, missing the 8. Also the vertical column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, missing the 8. And the horizontal row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, missing the 8. That's beautiful. Everything checks out. That means that our entire work, all the 8's are done. And once all the numbers are gone at the bottom, the numbers you wrote down, the game is done, the game is won. You move on to the next puzzle. Thanks for joining me, and have a good day.